and wanting a break. Ms. Passley, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. You reached a verdict on Sunday, and we respect it. We accept it. We have no choice. The death of Sean Bolton cannot be erased. It is a loss. It is a terrible loss. We do accept that. And on August 1st, 2015, there were a series of crimes that were committed, and they were all done. That was the first part of this case. Now, during the course of the second phase, which was the sentencing phase, you have been presented with mitigating evidence that we ask you to consider now. And that evidence provided you with an insight on Tremaine's life. Now you've heard about the first 29 years of his life and the way he learned beliefs, values, how to interact with people, how to get along or not get along. And all of those have had an impact on his life and his decision. Now there is no, or rather let me tell you that, it does not explain everything. And it does not justify or excuse anything. But it is something that needs to be considered, as it did have an impact on his life. Now, we're asking you to make a judgment. We're asking you to face the decision and render a verdict. That decision is going to define the remainder of Tremaine's life. And that is, what verdict should you render? Shall Tremaine die, or shall Tremaine live? Nobody else can do it. Only you. That evaluation of what we call mitigation personal choice. It is not something that everybody comes to a unanimous finding that one thing is better than another. For certain people, it could be one mitigating factors. For others, it could be another. But you must decide, each and every one of you must decide for himself or herself. This is an individual choice. It's based on personal moral decision, judgment, values, experiences, and walk of life. We all come from different walks of life. And different factors will affect you in different ways. That is what mitigation is. Now, you will hopefully not have balance against one another when it comes to sharing your personal lives, your personal moral judgments. You will have to respect each other's choices and values and beliefs. And there will be no correct answer as to what is what. Some of you will be affected by more. One choice of one may not reflect the choice of the other. And I want to emphasize this because it is, at this point, an individual choice and a moral decision that every single one of you has to make. Now, you've heard about Tremaine's life. You have heard from witnesses who came before you, and you have heard about the beginning of this tumultuous life. You have heard about the troubles of childhood and the exposure to violence, drug use, and other negative influences that he was subjected to. You have heard about the bouncing back and forth from the mother's unstable environment to the Department of Children's Services or Protective Services. From the age of not even 1 year old, all the way until Miss Richardson formally adopted him at the age of 12 or 13. But at that age, when he came to live with her, and he had been in many places, left in many places with a lot of different people, when he came to live with her at that age, the damage had already started. Now we have heard from what we call a mitigation specialist from Ms. Hall all this tumultuous background that he had to deal with. Now, like I said, there is no reason to excuse anything, or it is not a justification for the behavior. It is a factor that allows you to explain some of the events that took place in his life. You have heard about the repeated contact with the system. You have heard about the influences that he was in the neighborhood. You have heard about the lack of emotional support, the lack of nurturing. We as parents, for those we are teaching our children the way they shall become. We are trying to. We nurture them, we guide them, we teach them. We are teachers as parents. None of that applies to Tremaine. Learning at a young age is based mostly on what our parents teach us. This is a fact. Guidance in life does matter, and it is one of the factors to consider. Now, Miss Richardson told you that she finalized the adoption of Tremaine when he was 12 or 13, and he was the last one to reach her family. She had been trying to take care of every sibling and create a family-like environment for them. But he was the last one. He was the oldest of all the siblings. But he was the last one to be formally adopted. He was still bouncing back and forth between her at certain times in her life when she was able to take him to children's services, and the mother to whom he returned back and forth. Then at the age of 19, we have a 12-year sentence that is imposed. That did not redress any wrong that he might have done. He was 19 when he was charged and pled to that robbery. He was 19 when he went into federal custody. He did obtain a GED, but he didn't know what to do with it. He was released, and he was experiencing trauma again, how to re-enter society. He couldn't find a job, or if he did, he could get enough hours to work. He had this sense of doom. We didn't know how to explain it at the time. He messed up, went back in, did all those things that he said he did. There's no denial. He didn't follow the rules. No denial. He's asking for help. Takes a while. You heard probation officer saying that services are available to those who need it. We can actually provide assessments. But in this case, it took a long time for Tremaine to be assessed. He lives with his sister. He feels like he's cooped up. He's taking too much space. He even tells his probation officer she might as well put him back in prison. Sense of doom, helplessness, depressions. Then, in May of 2015, he asked for help. And it's not until July the 10th of 2015 that he gets an appointment. And the fact that he's been diagnosed with severe depression, with psychotic features, and PTSD appears in the report of the probation officer and the file that they keep on July 30, 2015, which is 2 days before the incident of August 1st, 2015, the death of Sean Barton. Pastor White knew him from when he was an infant, with his sibling going to play basketball and being a place for those kids to go and gather in the neighborhood. He said that Tremaine and him lost touch because Tremaine grew up and moved away from the neighborhood. But he was still the voice of reason for Tremaine when he decided to turn himself in. He contacted Pastor White. And he did turn himself in to the marshal's office. He was the voice of reason for him, even though he had left the neighborhood. Now, the court in his instructions has given you 17 or 18 mitigating factors, and I urge you to go through them, because you will put the value that you each individually decide to put on, not what we, the defense, or they, the state, decide that it's worth it or not. It's up to you. It is your moral decision that will define and determine whether they do outweigh the aggravating factors. And you have a duty, because of the oath that you took, to consider them all of them, not just one, not just two, and all of them. And contrary to the aggravating factors, you do not have to find any of those beyond reasonable doubt. Each one of you may decide that the weight of those factors is more important. Number one may be more important than number two. And this is a personal decision. Nobody can tell you how to reach that decision. But your choices are going to be yours. Those are individual choices. This is not a requirement of unanimous verdict as to each and every single mitigating factor. You do not have that requirement. You will outweigh or you will not outweigh the value of those factors, and you will decide which merit you decide to give to them. Now, the court also told you what a life sentence was. The court told you what life without the possibility of parole was, and this is what it is. Tremaine Wilbourn, if you choose, will never be released in the community. This is the punishment that you can choose. You do not have to choose that. Factors. You do not have to do that. Justice could be served for Sean Bolton by giving Tremaine Wilbourn a life sentence or a life without the possibility of parole. This is your individual decision. You have to know that. And I urge you to realize that each and every single one of you has that duty. Now, by choosing life and not choosing death, your mind can rest easy knowing that the death of Sean Bolton will be severely punished. Please respect the choices that you make in your deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Passley.